Yes, Kenya. Tamu sana, tamu sana, tamu sana, yes. Azimio leaders are currently meeting at Manzoni, Machakos County in preparations for tomorrow's Azimio political rally in Machakos. And one leader who found it very rough today at that meeting was Jalango, Langata Member of Parliament. Have a look at this before we proceed. Yes. Thus, Jalango being blocked from attending Azimio's leaders meeting. In this video, as usual, I want us to dig deep into that story for Kenyans to understand exactly what is going on behind the scenes and what that means politically. If you are watching us, but you have not yet subscribed, kindly subscribe, give this video a like. Yes, that's just a boardroom meeting. So I'm assuming that it's maybe ODM delegates or Azimio delegates or leaders who are blocking Jalango from attending that meeting. And I personally believe that if it was the ground, the people themselves dealing with Jalango, then it could have been a different story right now. We could have been talking a different story now. Let me start by saying this. The mere fact that William Ruto invited Jalango and other ODM leaders to State House, and they heeded that invitation without consulting the party, that alone means Jalango and those leaders who actually attended State House invite actually disregarded the party's position. The party is very clear. It does not recognize Ruto as the president. By Jalango and those other leaders heeding William Ruto's invitation to State House, they were confirming they recognize Ruto as the president and they are ready to work with him. So technically, they have defected from Azimio to Kenya Kwanza Alliance because that was a sign of defection. The only honorable thing Jalango and the leaders who attended State House meeting should now do is to tender their resignations. Let them seek a fresh mandate from the people so that they can work with that government they are claiming they want to work with for the benefit of the people. Let them resign and then they seek a fresh mandate from the people so that they can work with that government they want. You can't eat your cake, or rather you can't eat your cake and have it at the same time. This is the highest form of political conmanship. Cheating the electorates that you are in one camp, or rather you are in one side of the political divide to get their votes. Upon getting their votes, you change allegiance. That's conmanship, which should not be encouraged in Kenya. And the mere fact that Azimio leaders or the opposition is actually joining hands with the government, while the constitution is very clear that the opposition should actually check, yes, oversight the government. That's also lack of responsibility on the side of those opposition leaders. Instead of oversighting the government, they are actually helping the government in furthering its agenda. And it's also a fact that in the time William Ruto's government has been in power, Kenyans have really suffered a lot. So by opposition leaders again joining hands with that government, I see it as a betrayal, giving that government, a government oppressing the people, giving that government more powers to continue oppressing the people. In fact, these leaders are killing democracy in Kenya. And And if such kind of politics can be entertained, then in the coming years, Kenyans will really be suffering and they will do nothing to maybe make the government deliver. The government can only deliver if Kenya has a very strong opposition. What the leaders who joined State House are actually doing, they are weakening the opposition and they are giving the government the powers not even to deliver, and nobody will question them. That's why I believe the opposition leaders missed the point. And for them saying they are working with the government for development, that's child's play. That's a very big lie. They are working with the government for their own selfish and personal gains, not the people. In fact, the people can gain more if they oversight the government, if they put the government on its toes, not joining hands with that government. Another thing, I'm one person who strongly believes that the biggest political blunder Azimio as a party or as a coalition can do is to entertain these leaders causing with the government. Leaders such as Jalango and the ones we saw at State House. Because their continued stay, or rather their continued stay and participation in Azimio political matters, in one way or the other, is weakening Azimio from within and sending a very bad picture to Azimio supporters, creating an impression that Azimio is totally confused, very disparate. These leaders should not be entertained, or they should not be part of any Azimio plans or preparation meetings. They can actually be sabotaging and acting as William Ruto spies. Because honestly, I believe that by Jalango attending that preparation meeting, he can just leak the information to William Ruto on what Azimio intends on doing. So Raila and Azimio leaders should not allow these tumbocrats in their meetings. These are leaders who will sabotage and destroy Azimio from within. And the mere fact that actually they're being blocked from attending Azimio meetings also confirms that already they are not being received well, or rather Azimio does not trust them now. And just as I've said when we were starting, if it was the people dealing with Jalango, then it could have been a very different story as I talk. And now an advice to Jalango. Jalango should now make a decision whether he wants to work with Ruto or whether he wants to oversight William Ruto's government. The moment that is being seen today with Ruto, today he wants to be seen in Azimio rallies, actually is also weakening Jalango politically. He's being seen as a very confused leader. And that can actually augur very negatively among William Ruto supporters and even amongst Raila supporters. Let him decide whether to work with William Ruto or to oversight William Ruto's government. Because if he is actually undecided, then it's auguring negatively for him in both camps. As I conclude, Jalango's attending of Azimio meetings, in my honest opinion, also just goes on to confirm that Jalango might be regretting for having attended State House meeting. He might be guilty. Something inward might be eating him up. I'm seeing a man who maybe was, or rather, I'm seeing a man who might have been twisted, or a man who, out of his own greed, attended State House meeting, but is coming out to me as a man who was not actually ready to work with William Ruto. But because of his own personal greed, he decided to attend State House meeting. The damage is now done, and I don't think Jalango can actually rectify that now. Whether he comes back to Azimio, the damage is already done. I don't think a majority of Raila supporters will trust or even forgive him. The damage is now done. Jalango should now just stick with William Ruto. That's the best advice I can give to Jalango. The damage is already done. Let's meet in our next analysis. But before I forget, if you want to support our forum, I've pinned my number on the comment section. Contact me through the number or feel free to channel your support to the number. Let's meet in our next analysis. Thank you.